Hi, welcome to yet another inspiring lifestyle lounge session with myself, Hulisani Ravele. August marks Women's Month in South Africa. It is a time for us to remember the women who played a monumental role in amplifying our voices and fighting for the rights that we have today. It's a time for us to reflect and celebrate women from all walks of life, the various roles they play, and of course those women who are living their fullest life. Today, I have invited leading female personalities from our BBC Lifestyle channel to talk about their journeys to success, the obstacles that they have faced, how they've overcome those obstacles, how do they stay motivated, and more importantly, to just celebrate the boss women that they are. I hope that today's conversation will leave you feeling inspired and encouraged to live your fullest life. My first guest is Lara Nathan. She is a top real estate agent with Pam Gold Properties. She provides her clients with strategic transaction management as well as marketing. And not only does she come highly recommended, she is also highly regarded by both her peers and her clients. Hey Lara, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good. You're looking great, girl. I love it. It's like you remind me of Katy Perry. Is it I got the eye of the tiger? It's the raw. You see where I'm going with this,
Absolutely.
right? And joining us online all the way from Kenya is Gachui. She is an advocate of the High Court. She specializes in intellectual property. She is a thespian. She's a songwriter. She's a godmother. She's a comedian every now and again. She's a TV and radio presenter. And right now you can catch her on BBC Lifestyle's The Great Kenyan Bake Off. Hey June, how are you?
Great, Hulisani. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. Laura, you know, we can catch you right now on BBC Lifestyle's Listing Jozi. What a shift from kind of like being a person who allows other people to create their own lives, right? To you letting us into your life. Tell me about the experience of opening your life up to cameras and the world.
So that was very interesting. It was definitely a new experience for me. I definitely got to show my family, the family side of me. You see Lara, the property professional. No one really gets to see Lara, the wife or the mum. So I definitely got to show more of that side of me, which is great because you get to know the person behind the agent.
The person behind the board, the face that we
Yes,
see on the board that
exactly.
says for sale. And what would you say you learned the most about yourself being a part of Listing Jozi?
So I definitely learned that I'm actually more comfortable in front of the camera than I thought I would be.
Hey girl, okay, let's swap places.
But I love property and I love people. So I just kind of focused on that and the cameras sort of worked around me. So that was good and interesting. And yeah, just the fact that we got to showcase some of South Africa's most beautiful homes in South Africa's first reality TV show about property was the most phenomenal opportunity, and I sort of grabbed it with both hands.
Because why? Pioneers, man. This is what women do. We are rocking the world in 6-inch heels. June, let me come to you. The Great Kenyan Bake Off. First things first, why did you decide to do the show? I mean, being the high advocate that you are, and now you're like, okay, let's do a little bit of baking here on TV.
It's an interesting question. I love baking. And it was very interesting for me because I bake. My neighbors know that I bake. They've gotten to the point where they bring me overripe bananas and sort of just drop them at my doorstep.
Because you know what to do with them.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, okay, you have guests. So baking for me has been something that has been always comforting. And when I got asked to audition, I didn't even understand what I was being asked to do because I've not really had a very long career with TV. And but the fact that it was a family show and the fact that, baking for me has always reminded me of home. I did home economics when I was in school and we learned how to cook and how to bake. So for me, it was very nostalgic. And I didn't have an answer as to why I wouldn't try it out and see what happens. So I wish I had a deeper answer, but it was more like, I haven't done this before and why not? Let's try.
I absolutely love that, June, because it speaks to that spirit of courage, to kind of like be, I may not know this, it's uncharted waters and territory, but you know what? I'm going to go for it anyway, and we'll see the lessons that come with it and the experience that comes with. Talk to me about, if I haven't watched The Great Kenyan Bake Off, what can I expect from the show?
Madness. Absolute madness. I think for me, it was such an interesting journey because my co-host and I, Nick Deda, had done some acting before back in the day, but then we'd not really done any work together. But being able to sort of just be silly and get paid for it, and that was the funnest thing. Meeting all these amazing Kenyans from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different age groups. I think the first season, our youngest contestant, I think, is 17 or something like that, and he was amazing baker with such passion. And I think the oldest person was probably in their 50s, if I'm not wrong, or in their 40s. And just seeing that range of personality, range of background, all being brought together with their passion for baking and making beautiful things out of ingredients. I mean, I think we can all relate to that in some way, shape, or form. So I think you'll see a lot of authenticity. You'll see a lot of excitement to start something new. And more importantly for me, the ability to be able to explore one's passion. I think that's something people haven't had the possibility of doing for a long time. And this show gave them that opportunity.
You know, June, you're speaking about starting something new and passion. Lara, at the beginning of your career, you know, when you think about what it is you want to do for the rest of your life, how did you make the decision to go into property? What inspired that for you?
So I'd actually come back from London. I worked for Sky TV, and I definitely wanted to come back and do something new. And I did the London thing after.
With the red buses and the tube, you lived your best life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I loved it. But I came back, I wanted to do something different. A family friend actually said, you know, why don't I come try it out? And I mean, I just have such a passion, as I say, for people and property. So the two married very well together for me. And yeah, I love finding people their dream homes. And I love, even if it's an older home, you know, seeing these transformations of people creating their dream home. And there's just nothing better for me than seeing that satisfaction.
And I suppose it's that thing of, it's so much more than just a house, right? You're literally a part of creating somebody's entire backdrop to their lives.
Exactly. So it's about finding them a home, a place they can call home, where they're going to have families and create memories. And I mean, there's just nothing more rewarding than that.
Okay, Kel, when I move into the next text bracket and I'm ready to be there and sent down, I'm going to call you.
Perfect, please do.
June, let's come to you. You know, you're an advocate of the High Court. Then we've got the entertainment and media side of your life. What inspired you to go down the many career paths that you've gone down on?
I think that the two have always been very connected in my life. Law in itself, I think I got inspired to pursue law because of watching too much TV, to be honest. I think watching all these legal dramas, I found out very, very quickly that it's not the same at all. And I remember my first sort of couple of years of practice, and I just thought, what the heck have I done with my life, you know?
This is not Ally McBeal, it's real life.
Not at all. I was like, objection, Your Honor, objection, life, objection, everything. So I was always performing. I think from the age of about 6 or 7 or 8, I remember performing for my family and our friends and all of that. And so because my parents were, I mean, God bless them, they allowed me to just explore this passion of wanting to sing and to perform from a very early age. And so as long as I did my schoolwork, I was able to then go and explore this craziness. And because that continued through life, through high school, through university, I pursued law, yes, but then when I was done with school, on the weekends, I would perform. And that never stopped when I got into my legal practice. And then after about 7 or 8 years of just regular law, I was doing a lot of pro bono work on the side with my creative family. And they started asking me, could you look at this contract and could you give me advice on this or the other? And I asked myself, why am I only doing this on Saturdays for no money? And yet it's the thing that comes the easiest to me. And so I quit my job and I went to do my master's to specialize in intellectual property and entertainment law. So the two were actually, you know, they got married at that point, and it's been a wonderful marriage. I think being able to be in the creative industry, understand those nuances, and then have an ability to solve problems from a legal perspective.
It absolutely sounds like baking a cake. Like the ingredients don't make sense in the beginning, but you bring them together and it creates something so beautiful. And this is where you find yourself.
Yes, indeed. That's an accurate description.
You know, on the journey to success, Lara, branding becomes such an important thing. How do you brand yourself? I mean, how did you go from Lara Nathan, nobody really knows, to Lara Nathan, top real estate agent? Like Pam Gold Properties, girl, people know you by name.
Right, so that firstly comes with a lot of determination, firstly, but you have to have goals in place. You've got to have systems in place. There has to be something to follow and something that's realistic, actionable. You've definitely got to be an expert in your field. You've got to know enough about what's happening in the market trends, what's affecting that. You've got to know your buyers. But it's also about building long-lasting relationships. And that's really important because the business is very much referral-based. So, you know, behind every client is a network of clients.
Love that.
And you have to remember that. It's so important. So building relationships is a big one for me. And being an expert and constantly learning. You'll never stop learning in this industry. You'll never know enough. So constantly learning, it makes you far more efficient and better at your job.
Like, let me throw a spanner in the works. For you, does that mean also learning from the younger generation? Because, you know, sometimes, especially as women, you know, when the new crew is stepping in, it's kind of like, you don't know anything yet. Let us, the older generation, teach you a thing or two. Or are you open to, you know, kind of like learning from anyone and everyone?
Open to learning from everyone and everything. Everyone is different. Everyone does things differently. And you can pull, you know, different, what one person does is great and positive and works for them. What another person does, you know, works for them. And they're always different. So I think you can learn from everyone. I don't think you should ever put a cap on that.
I like that. Run your own race, but learn from others too. June, you know, when it comes to the industry that you're in, you could almost be seen as you're over-branded, you know, like you are a jack of all trades. You're doing too much. And that's actually something that a lot of us youngsters often hear as well, that you're this, you're this, you're this. It's like they call us the slasher generation. How do you go about branding yourself and ensuring that with the many hats that you wear, you're kind of like having a distinct voice within each pocket?
I like to sort of like put them all in one box. I actually call myself, if I was to just give it two definitions, I am a lawyer and a performing artist, because all of the things that I do within the creative media space are all art forms, in my opinion. So if I'm on radio, if I'm on a TV show, if I'm on stage, if I'm acting or singing with my band, all of that is just a performing art. And when I'm in my legal practice, I'm solving problems creatively for the creative entrepreneurs. So I sort of whittle it down to just two things. And I've always been raised to believe that there's really nothing that we can't do. And we don't even use a large percentage of what our brain or our bodies are capable of doing. So I'm sort of on a mission to prove that before we expire, we really need to do the utmost. And I think from a branding point of view, if you are, my particular brand, I would say is authentic, is passionate, is, well, I'm going to try it out and see what happens. I'm not afraid of failure. And if that is consistently felt and seen and experienced, both in my legal practice and in my performing art life, then I've achieved, you know, creating that particular brand. So brand June should be consistent in the way you experience her, whether it's in her legal practice or in her performing arts.
I've got this big grin on my face. Like, it's such a silly grin because I'm like, she's my spirit animal. Yes, that's totally me. So you definitely hit the nail on the head. Let's talk challenges, ladies, because let's be honest, right? In life, and as we are building these careers, as we're building our families, as we're just trying to be phenomenal women in our everyday lives, there are challenges. Talk to me about some of the challenges you faced, Lara, and how you've overcome them.
So I've experienced challenges in my professional life and in my private life. And I think in all challenges, there are opportunities. And it gives you the opportunity to grow, and in that you gain experience and you gain strength. I lost half my family when I was very young. It was all very tragic, and But even in that, I grew and I gained a lot of strength, and I was a lot stronger than I ever thought I could be.
Let's talk vulnerability for a second before I go to June to answer that question about how, when you're going through a tough time and you're facing a challenge, we're always so often so quick to, I need to snap out of this. I need to heal out of this. Like, what are your thoughts around vulnerability and just allowing yourself to feel the pain that you need to feel at that moment?
So that's a great question, because I always tend, when, you can have one challenge thrown at you or a whole bunch. And I think sometimes I just have to take a step back, slow down for a second, take a deep breath, give it some thought, because nothing is, everything can be overcome.
But allow yourself to have the cry.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, no, you need to do that. Oh, absolutely. You've got to feel it. I mean, you can't really get past it without that. So I think you've got to, and that's a part of dealing with it and overcoming it.
Yeah. It's the feeling. You got to feel to heal.
Right.
Got to feel to deal, feel to heal. At least that's what I think as well. June, let's talk about challenges in your life that you've faced and how you've overcome them for yourself.
I mean, they've been numerous. I said earlier that I've learned to be very good friends with failure. I don't fear it because of how often we have met. And so I think for me, the challenges have been very, I've welcomed them. Let me put it that way. And it's not something that you can foresee or that you plan for.
I love that.
Challenges have been something that I've learned not to fear. I sort of expect them now. And I just sort of, I'm constantly like, which corner of the world is it coming from? And keep reminding myself that it's okay. And that you have everything you need within you to solve the challenge. And all it's coming to do is to teach you a new lesson. It's an opportunity to learn something new.
You know what both you and Lara are saying reminds me of Demi Lovato's song, It's Okay Not to Be Okay. Like, it's really okay to just stumble. It's okay to look down on your toe and be like, that hurt. That's sore. Let me just have a moment and then I'll pick myself up and try again. When we talk challenges, there's no way we cannot look at the year 2020, moving into 2021, living through a pandemic and what that year has just taught us. Talk to me about how life has changed for you, COVID-19 related.
So definitely more protocols, safety protocols are in place and safety measures, but safety first. So you do what you have to do. We've had clients fill out risk exposure forms. We take temperatures, we sanitize hands, we even sanitize shoes before going to properties. So it's just a matter of balancing that and ensuring that everybody, as I say, safety first, so that counts, and that it enables you to continue with your job.
Yeah. And the knock that you must have taken when we couldn't do anything and we were literally locked down. I mean, nobody was going to view any house. Nobody was even thinking of buying a new house. How did you deal with that challenge?
So also a very interesting question. We actually ended up doing a lot more video
like virtual tours.
Yeah, virtual tours.
I love it. Yeah.
And we posted those, so it gave people an opportunity to walk through the home without actually physically being there. And that either they gained a lot of interest, and it was, I definitely need to see this home as soon as we're able. And I did have someone put in an offer without actually viewing the property at all. I mean, they actually weren't even in South Africa. And so it happened. You made it work. You did what you can. You have to think outside the box. You cannot let COVID get to you. As I say, you stay within all the safety protocols, but you do what you can and you think out the box and you make it happen any way you can.
It's about having the tenacity to adapt, because adapt, not you must, you will.
Exactly.
You will. And for you, June, let's talk COVID-19 and some of the challenges that you experienced in the many facets of your life and how you overcame those.
So this relative called COVID who's refusing.
The relative that doesn't want to leave, they've moved in, they said they'd be here for a week. It's been 2 years and they're still here.
Absolute rudeness. I mean, honestly. So COVID did two things, I think, for me. In my personal life, it allowed me to reset. It was actually a fresh air. I think after the initial slap in the face, I realized that I had been sort of burning both ends of the candle, and I really needed to just take a chill pill. And it's like everything stopped to allow me to rest and take care of some health issues and just things that I'd been putting on the back burner for a while. sort of sift through things that I didn't really want to be doing anymore. People, relationships, you name it. I mean, we had time with myself, myself and I, to have conversations, and really just ask myself, what is the next sort of, I don't know, 5 years, God knows how long, going to look like for all of us. Professionally, it was devastating. I won't lie. I think from the creative side, we weren't allowed to gather, social gatherings, public gatherings, the very thing that we require to do our performances completely went out the window. And so all the shows and the productions that we had lined up really took a massive hit. But then we started to realize that we're called creatives for a reason. And then we have to pull from that creative source and pivot. And what that meant was, accessing digital platforms and increasing the audience that you can actually access. Collaborations, this is the one time you can, I don't know, write to, I heard you mention Katy Perry or Demi Lovato and go, hey, Demi, how you doing, girl? Can we do a collaboration together, or whatever it is? It sort of broke down those barriers that physical countries and physical borders had presented for our entire lives. We were able to shoot season 2 of the Great Kenyan Bake Off during COVID. And that for me was magic, because we had to put all the protocols in place, and hand washing stations and masks and sanitizing and social distancing. But it proved that it is possible. It's difficult, but it's definitely not impossible.
That is so true. It's like you said, Lara, that, challenges also do have opportunities, but it's about changing your focus from the problem and looking at where is the silver lining? What is the good? What can I learn and what can I do? Let's talk about the enigma of balance, ladies, because, I'm not a mom yet, but you guys being moms, you are career women, you are wives. I mean, there are duties there as well, and then you're just a woman trying to live her best life. How do you do it all, Lara?
Look, I definitely think a healthy mind, healthy body. I make sure that I get as much exercise in as I can. If I try and do that once a day at least, and usually that's early in the morning. And that kind of sets me off for the rest of the day, which is great. But as you say, it's important. You're a wife, you're a mom, you're, a property professional. Absolutely. And you do have to find a way to make that work. And I do find a way. I've got a good team that helps with my kids. Work, I think it's important to know that you can always ask for help.
I love that. That's important.
Because it can get very stressful and it does get challenging, and that's okay. You're only human.
Yeah. Team and ask for help. I'm only human. and for you, June, how are you navigating balance?
Hulisani, just like you, I'm not a mom yet. I'm not a wife yet.
Hey girls, single sisters over here. BBC should totally create a show for us, but that's a story for another day.
We're on the market, so anybody who's watching, you can call Hulisani and she'll call me. So I think for me, the thing has been creating time, and I think when they ask you what your love languages are, for me, quality time is extremely important. And I think balance and time management is all about that. It's about selecting the things that are important to you. We have 24 hours in a day. Everybody gets the same 24 hours. It's what we choose to do with the 24 hours. And I think if you're doing things that you enjoy, it lends itself to allowing you to manage your time better. And so creating within those 24 hours space for rest and for alone time and for spiritual prayer and just refocusing, spending time with your family, spending time on the thing that earns your bread and butter, your career, and being able to make sure that in that particular window of 24 hours, if you break it down to just the 24 hours, it's easier than trying to balance your whole life out. And so with anything in life, too much of a good thing is not good for you. Too much of a bad thing is not good for you. And so balance is the thing we strive to achieve. I don't think I've achieved it completely. I think it's an ongoing journey, but I'm enjoying the process because my body will speak to me. If I haven't slept or rested let me tell you, there's nothing I can do. As soon as that sleep hits me, I'm out like a light, and that's what the body needs at that time. And so being intentional, I think, is really important, and saying in a day, in a week, in a month, what are the things I really need to achieve? And if you fail, be kind to yourself, because that's going to happen. We're human. So yeah, that's my take on balance, and it's still a work in progress.
June, you've pulled on a thread that I would love for us to explore, and that is self-care. You've touched on a number of ways that you look after yourself. For you, Lara, you're spending time with the family, you are at work. How do you take care of Lara?
So I think self-care, I definitely, just as far as work goes, I definitely plan my days before. And then I know what my priorities are, and then my energy is more focused and I'm more efficient, just as Lara, the professional. And for Lara, myself, definitely lots of girl time is great. I think we need that. It's
with
good
grown-up
for the soul.
beverages,
Yes, absolutely. We won't say no. So that's really important. And I need to get out. I love running on the road with my dog. She's my running partner. And she actually features on the show and in the first episode. And yeah, I think it's important to take that time out. Get your nails done, get your hair done, go for a massage. But girl time is great time.
Even if your hair takes only 10 minutes, get your hair done, girl. You spoke about something that I've actually never heard anyone speak of before, and that's self-care in your professional life. Like, I am definitely taking that with me. The fact that planning your day is self-care. Planning what your priorities are, even on the work front, is self-care. Girl, I'm taking that.
You see, we learn from each other.
Exactly. And speaking about that, learning from each other, there are women who support our journeys. As women ourselves, there are those who hold our hands along the way, those who cheer us on. For you, June, who are some of the women that you would say have been along with you for the journey and kind of create that support that you carry in your life?
Now the problem is, if I don't mention all of them, I'm going to get smacked. So
you better start with your mom, girl.
My mommy is the queen of support. She's a prayer warrior. She's honest to a fault. This woman will call you up and say, "What's that you're wearing? Nah, that's not working. Change it now." So my mom is probably one of my biggest supporters, biggest role models, just a great woman who just allows you to be, and sort of guides you and says, okay, you're going too far left, too far right. My sisters, I've got two sisters who are constantly just like, the fans, biggest marketers of all the madness that I do in my life. I've got a group of friends who have walked with me through primary school, high school, university. And interestingly enough, we're all in different countries. The ones in Nairobi know themselves. We call ourselves the committee. We keep ourselves accountable. You do life together, and you don't see each other every day, obviously, but it's when you do speak, you unpause from where you left off in the last conversation. But what I appreciate about all of these women and these sisters is that they are truthful. You know how they say people are not always happy for your success. People are not always out to make sure that your best possible outcome is what results. But these women have kept me grounded. They've kept me honest. They've given me feedback. And for me, that's the thing I value the most.
We're going to talk more about sisterhood in just a second. But for you, Lara, talk to me about the women who on your journey are just saying, you go, girl, or we're here for you. Let it all out. Who are those women for you?
So those would be my circle of friends. There's a group of us that actually none of us are in the same country, but we're in constant contact, and we just empower each other and we inspire each other and we're there for each other and we can just be ourselves with each other. And I love that. It's such a safe space, and we always have each other's best interests at heart. And you motivate each other. That's great. It's great to have that grounding.
And you're honest with each other, because finding spaces of where you can be honest and vulnerable is not common, right?
Oh, absolutely. Very honest with each other. Yeah.
fixing each other's crowns, ladies. Look at us go. And that's where I want to take this conversation now. Let's talk sisterhood. You know, it's Women's Month, August in South Africa, and it really is about spotlighting not only where we come from as women in our country, but where we at, the many challenges we face, and where it is that we're going. And in all of that, as we navigate life, there's this sisterhood that needs to exist because we're all in it together in different ways. What does sisterhood mean to you?
Sisterhood is, for me, is really about having such a close-knit group of girls in my life that, as I say, empower me, that, you know, even it's kind of a funny story, but my husband's ex-wife and I are incredibly close. I mean,
Wow!
We do family trips twice a year together. I've got a stepson and they live in Cape Town, but we do family trips together twice a year, although COVID's played obviously put a bit of a spanner in the works there. And she's very empowering, and she's very well known in South Africa, and she's someone that has been an incredible role model for me. And she's my daughter's godmother, and it's people like that and my late mom who just taught me so much. Even in her passing, she taught me strength and resilience. So, you know, you learn different things from different people in your life, and you take all the positive aspects and put them together, and you do the best you can. Mm-hmm. So sisterhood is really about being there for each other as well. No matter what, through thick and thin, you're each other's pillar of strength, you know, you're each other's greatest support.
I love that. June, for you, sisterhood, what does it mean to you if you had to define it?
I think for me, it's more than just family. It's a group of people who are family, but who allow you to be yourself. And they take literally the expression "take me as I am" is exactly what sisterhood is. It allows you a little bit of flexibility, a little bit of rope to be crazy once in a while, to be extra once in a while. But then that rope is also used to sort of bring you back to reality. And it's always done within the context of love. So holding you accountable, keeping you prayed up, keeping you sort of focused, holding you when you're down, supporting you when you're up. I think it's the entire gamut of I want to say like a fully unconditional relationship with love, respect. And I think that some people take that for granted.
Yep, it's about accountability, but also allowing ourselves the grace and the space to be that which we need to be in that moment. Before I say goodbye to both of you, because honestly, we could have this conversation forever. This is what girl and sisterhood is all about, right? Conversation that just fill us up. Lara, take me back to your 18-year-old self. And if the two of you were sitting across from each other having a conversation, what would you say to that young girl?
I would say to definitely always listen to your intuition. Don't be afraid to take risks. It'll always be okay because you will always find a way, and you're strong enough to. And live your life with passion and purpose, because there's no other way to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for you, June, let's rewind the clock to 18 years old. What are you saying to your young self if you're having a conversation with each other?
All right. Well, I would tell this 18-year-old June that she's awesome. And I think that she's powerful and that she's capable of everything she dreams that she would want to be. I would tell her not to be afraid to take big steps and make big decisions. I would tell her that time is not something that she should take for granted. I would tell her that if anything makes her scared, then she should try and do it. And I would finally tell her that, she is deserving of love, and she's deserving of success, and she's deserving of this epicness. That's what I would tell her.
She is worthy of living her fullest life. Absolutely love it. June, Lara, ladies, thank you so much for pouring into my cup. Thank you for sharing your lives. Thank you for sharing your lessons and your successes. And to both of you, I just wish you the very best, not just in Women's Month, but every single day from here on out. Go out there and keep shining and keep knocking down the barriers that you're doing with the style and grace that you both are. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Hulisani. Thanks.
Oh man, and that is where we have to leave today's Lifestyle Lounge session. I hope that we have left you with so much food for thought, from being courageous to go out there and do it scared anyway, to make friends with failure. It's okay. To reminding yourself that being vulnerable, there is strength in your vulnerability, and it's okay to pause, take a moment, and make sure that you are okay from the inside out. And of course, who can forget the lessons around sisterhood and the importance of surrounding yourself with an inner circle that not only holds you accountable, but is also there for you when you're celebrating those highs. It's been amazing. Absolutely, absolutely love it. Don't forget, you can follow our social pages, and you should, BBC Lifestyle, so that you can catch more Lifestyle Lounge sessions. And also, let's support June and catch all her craziness on the Great Kenyan Bake Off. It's on BBC Lifestyle Channel 174 every single Wednesday. From myself, Hulisani Ravele, don't forget to go out there and live your fullest life.